All right, so just like I said before, let me clear this off real quick. All right, so just like I said before, we have when we talk about intervals, we're doing binomial CDF, cumulative distribution frequency. So when we have the words at least or more than, so in other words, talking about those big numbers there, that going up, what we have to do is actually do it a little bit differently than what we did the other ones. You can't just put directly in the calculator. We're dealing with the probability of 1. And remember, we said that if we add up all the probabilities, like when it comes to a probability distribution, when it comes to expected value, even when it comes to just binomial distribution here, when we look at all the possibilities, all the outcomes, especially the 2 outcomes, their probability should always equal 1. So no matter what, it always has to equal 1. So if we know the probability of the lowest part, the lower part, and we subtract that from 1, we'll have the probability of the high part. So if we're talking about at least, that means it's going to be at least this number or more or higher. So that means that if we can find the low part and subtract that from 1, we can find the high part. So that's how they do this here. And that's what we're going to do. So let's move forward and let's do that. All right, so for example 3, we're going to find the probability of getting at least 4 bad apples. At least 4 bad apples. All right, so looking at this, having at least 4 bad apples, we're still going to say there's 10 apples in all, and there's still 5% of the apples will have worms, or have worms. All right, so with it, we're going to go ahead and still talk about n equals 10. We know p still equals 0.05. And our x that we're going to be dealing with here actually is now at least. Oops, sorry, it's covered up a little bit. Sorry. It's going to be x equals at least 4. All right, so with our at least 4, that means that we're going to have 4 or more, right? Sorry, 4 or more. So this includes, since we're talking about 10, it's there's 10 apples. That means we're going to be looking at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So all those numbers that are above that, above 4 or more. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and write out this other part real quick too. I forgot 0, sorry. Sorry, 0. All right, so we have this. So we know we're going to be focusing on, or we want to find this part up here. Now, with it, like I've said already, when in the slide right before this, we actually have to use the bottom portion to help us to find the top portion. Why to do that? I'm not necessarily sure exactly why, but we have to. So when we start talking about this, doing our binomial CDF, we still have x, which n, which is 10. We have 0.05, sorry. So we can do 0 or 0.05. And the next part is we have to use the bottom portion to help us to do the top part. And I'm sorry, I forgot one thing off, guys. It was 1 minus that. So 1 minus that binomial CDF. 10 is at n, p is 0.05, and then our x is going to be, again, looking at this lower part to help us out. Let me get my pen there. Looking at this lower part right here. Oh, wrong number. Sorry about that, guys. So we're looking at this bottom part back here. Now, with this, because we were talking about this interval, using this interval, remember we have to use the highest number in that interval when it comes to what we use for x. Because we're doing 1 minus that, and for some reason the calculator will not understand like going from 4 to 10, and so with it we have to use it this way. This only way. So here, because we know we're going to do at least 4 or more, so that means if we can find this back piece here and subtract that from 1, that will give us what's left over. So if I give you the whole, we subtract a piece from it. Whatever's left over is the answer. All right, so here, what we're going to do is use 3. So here, let's go ahead and go there. And we're going to do 1 minus the vars. I'm sorry, wrong one. Let's go up. There we go. Here, we get 10. So pretty much everything's still the same. So we keep that. All right, and then let's go check really quick and see. So it's 1 minus the binomial CDF, 10.05 and 3. And let's hit enter here, guys, and let's see what the answer is. That's the right answer. That's what we need. That's what we need. And I'm sorry, I forgot I even had this up here. So just as a reiteration again for what we have to do. We will use 3 because x has to be the highest number in the interval. So if we find the lowest portion, we can subtract that from the whole to get the portion that we are looking for. So I said it. Now it's in word form down here. We already put it in the calculator and we found our answer. So let's go ahead and go for that. All right, so our probability will be 0.01. Sorry, 0.001. We can say O. All right, or that's like change it to percent. That's 0.1% or a 10th percent. That's weird. So in order for you to have 4 or more, at least 4 bad apples here, your percent would be like 1.1%. So most likely that's not going to happen because it's so low. So there's a 0.1% chance that of at least 4 apples having worms in them. Since that's so low, guys, like it's most likely not going to happen. But again, the only difference here between what we just did and now is because we have to use the lower part of it. We do 1 minus this. All right, so let's go ahead and go to another one. And like again, we'll get more practice with it and we'll do good. We'll do good. So we're going to go to example 4 this time.